So we're getting into the home stretch now, almost finished with the lei, and you know that you're ready to begin spiraling when you come near the end of that longer piece, your wider ribbon that you cut down to about 22 yards. So when you get to this point, just go ahead and trim off the excess picot. You won't be needing that anymore. Then you can also come along and a few inches from the end, trim your threads. You don't need this spool of thread anymore either. Next, you can go ahead and take off your handy clothespin. Its job is finished. Now it's time to get started with the spiraling. This process is simple, but it may take you a minute to get everything looking just like you want. So let's get that focused. There we go. Grab onto your scrunched up ribbons and begin twisting. And as you twist around, you'll see this spiral form start to develop. There you go. You can see the first bit of spiral shaping up there quite nicely. And you just continue doing this, working your way all the way down to the opposite end. And I'm not going to make you watch that entire process because it does take a couple of minutes. And as you're going along, you can just sort of work out the extra loops that are going to form. It's going to get a little bit twisted up down here. Don't worry about that though. Just toss it out and then come back and keep on spiraling until you reach the end. So once everything is nice and spiraled, you're ready to tie off the thread. So scrunch it down as much as you can, and you can trim it up a little bit. Not too much, but just trim off some of the excess to make it easier to tie your knot. And then tie a nice bulky knot, so a couple of knots as close in as you can. And if you're having trouble getting a knot, you can actually tie a bead onto the end. That can help you too. So I like to just put a few little knots there just to keep it from sliding off. And then come down to the other end and we'll do the same thing. Doesn't have to be a fancy knot, just a little basic knot. I didn't trim that one up. And try to get it as close in as you can. Honestly, one knot is probably sufficient. I just like to go a little bit overboard with my knots to make sure that everything is nice and secure. And once again, a small bead or like a pony bead will hold this really well and make sure that nothing's going to slip out. Now from there, just grab your ends and you can leave the thread on for now and just come like you're gonna tie your shoes. Do your little basic overhand knot, and then again, treating these two ribbons as one for the purposes of this knot and bringing the threads along for a ride. Now you should have a nice square knot there, holding everything in place. And from here, you can let the ribbons hang. You can tie yourself just a basic bow, or you can also make a more elaborate bow.